It didn't, the main purpose of cultism, or let's just say confraternity, was not for because of the violence. It was not because of the fight. It was just some certain group of people that were trying to curb the oppression they get from the colonials then, and it started from a dream of justice. But then this tragedy now is how far it shows how far it has strayed, to the extent that secondary students
like that
are now involved into it. You know. Welcome to another episode of Veegilant Podcast, where we talk civic matters and we also talk from other people's perspective. I'm your host, Olaitan Babatunde, and with me, as usual, is the ever vibrant and beautiful baby from Ibadan, Olaitan Adebayo. How are you doing today?
I'm very well, thank you.
How is everything?
Fine.
All right, so today we're talking about one issue that has eaten deep into our society, but then, sometimes we just overlook it as if it doesn't exist. Yeah. And I'm talking about initiation in schools to just, package it.
Yeah, to package it.
Exactly. But then in the actual sense, we're talking about cultism. Okay. And then it's because of a video that went viral recently, and it was aired on TBC, where some young girls were into initiation in their school. And, it's just saddening seeing something like that. But then in secondary school, yeah. Right. But then let's go back to when this whole thing started. Okay. So in 1952, Professor Wole Soyinka, that we know as legend Agba. Okay, so this started with him then, with some group of idealistic young men trying to, fight against colonial oppression, injustice, and, to show this bravery, like Nigerians to say, we gallant, we day every time. But then with time, in the 1970s and 1980s, this good idea, he kept going on until 1970s to 1980s, where the splinters begins to emerge. And the first one was the Pyrates Confraternity. And you would ask me, why did these people leave in the first place? Don't you like good things? But then these people left because they felt like, the Pyrates Confraternity, which was led by Wole Soyinka, is more on the boring side, and it's for the elite, and it was bookish, yeah. And these ones, they want actions now. Let's go and paint the town red with blood. Let's fight it all out. But then when coming to 1990s and up to this moment, we can see that it has now become a fire widespread.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Speaking about in schools that in 1999 and OAU, some cultists broke out and they fought and they killed about 5 students, including this popular person in Africa.
Yeah. And I think that's why we don't, according to OAU students, yes, they don't have any cultism activities going on in OAU.
And another one that happened in Uniben, where they actually fought with another university. Imagine you went from your own university to fight another. I guess that's why the governor of the state now actually say, okay, if you are caught 21 years, back down 2 portions.
They go. But actually, I feel like in Benin State, if you look at them, they are known for this violence and all of that.
And
so
they're proud. Be I'm a baby boy.
I did tell you. So cultism is like everyday thing to them over them. I can remember there was a time my sister was traveling and she was going to Enugu State, and when they got to Benin, then there was gunshots. I think she was even telling us then that she's going through trauma at this point, because even on normal days when she's just doing normal things in the house, what she can hear at that point is the gunshots and all of that. Then, so I feel like whatever Monday Okpebolo is doing now is one of the things that
if it is if it is effective. We've seen cases whereby people the governor will come out, the schools will come out. Okay, anybody caught will be suspended, expelled, go to prison and all of that. But we are still seeing them. They are still making, and people are saying, okay, find this court, because if they're actually caught or sent to jail, this issue of this girl was coming out to do
stuff like that. It's really saddening. Yeah. So the video would be displayed now But I would like to ask you, when you saw this video, this particular one, what was your reaction?
I was like, what came to my mind was like, okay, fine. When I was young, when I was in secondary school, the only thing that was on my mind was, okay, let me read and let me write love letters. Like,
okay.
Let me.
So did you write love letters?
No, away from that, we're talking about cultism. Like, it didn't call to me like, let me join cult, because we heard about cultism then.
Yeah.
But the only thing that was okay, that happens in university. When I get to university, I have to be careful and all of that. But then in secondary school, like, who brought up the idea? How did you guys come about it? It's like questions that was just like coming up in my mind, which I feel that nobody can answer, and we are in this digital age whereby they see things online, they're exposed to different things, and probably they picked it up from there and let me initiate you for different things.
What do they even understand by initiation?
Funny how most of them don't even know what the stuff is all about. They don't even know they find this is what we are doing. Some of them don't even understand what cultism is all about, how it started. They don't know it.
Yeah.
Just believe, okay, fine, we are doing egbe. That's it. That's what they're all about.
But do you think that this cultism thing can go back to how it was in 1952? Like the main reason why it started then?
It can never go that way. Like, it can never. It's just like people be like, okay, fine, let's all usually like pray for Nigeria. Yeah. It'll be a better place for all of us. But this situation of cultism, going back to this country is already the way it is. It can never go back to the way it was actually intended.
Okay, so I'd like to ask, what societal factor do you think allowed this young youth?
So like, okay, fine, I want to do this. Mostly, I'll say power and this sense of belonging. Like, now she will not belong. Yeah. Like that kind of that. That's like, I think the popular thing that people say, okay, when she will not belong and all of that. Like, they want to know that they want to be associated with a particular group. Like, if I want you to talk to me, you don't talk to me anyhow.
I have backing.
I get backing. You know that kind of thing. Yeah. And some people probably for money, and even people that are lured to it, they'll say, okay, fine, come and join our group now. You will pass your exams, you give you money, and some people actually do it because of peer pressure. Like, my friends are doing this. I don't want to do it, but because my friends are doing it and I'm seeing that they are doing good, they won't tell you the bad parts. They won't tell you that, okay, fine, if you do some certain things, you will die. You might go to jail. They won't tell you. They only like package it, like, you mentioned about packaging. Yeah. So they like package it in a good way and all of that. So to me, I feel that, okay, most people do it because of like, I want to belong, because of money, and because of some people need emotional support, which they don't get from their family. Like, so some people don't,
find it outside.
Like, okay, I will give you that support, and at first it will be like that.
Sure.
People be like, okay, fine, they will get that support, but eventually, like along the line, like, okay, fine, you have this tax that you want to do.
You have to do, and you must carry it out.
And you don't carry that. Give it like that.
Okay, so, I was talking to a friend of mine recently, and then it was, contemplating between moving to Abeokuta. But he was like, no, the issue now is that I heard in Abeokuta that there are a lot of cultists there and all that, and I don't even, and I said, see, my guy, the important thing is, once you know that this is what they do not allow people to wear there, don't wear it, because you don't want any issue. And I think
if that's probably if he's living around the school environment,
he has to be very careful.
Another area that is not where. So moving on, like, in what ways, like, do you think cultism has disrupted the academic environment?
I think for me, looking at it now, the main purpose, the primary reason for going to school is to study. To learn, is to learn. And then on getting to school, because of peer pressure, because of, the people that you see, because of the lifestyle, now when you see cultists, I think there was a situation in school then that we were in the faculty, and then there were some people coming, and then this guy eats me, and I was about to say, oh God, you don't see me. Then a friend of mine just told me, calm down, let them go.
Kind of, feeling they want people to ask anytime they.
So I was about to say, like, guy, now didn't you say that you mean that? After he left, the guy was like, they are cultists, and I was like, okay.
So but then some of them even be purposely like, let me just show.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I know what I can do.
I feel like in school, people like that, they forget about their primary reason for being in school now, because they know that I can get power, I can, talk to anybody anyhow. And then because some of them even have influence when it comes to these lecturers, they can tell the lecturers that, okay, this is what I want, this is how I want you to do it, or else I'm going to kill you, or else I'm going to do this to your family. So because they've promised each other, like, this is what you'll be getting, I feel like it's disrupting the academic environment, because people that are really studying art, you're making their efforts look like as though it's wasted. Like, you know how they say that if you don't know the way, and it will more way. So exactly. So now you're making me feel that I came to school studying and you know, burning night candles. You're making me feel as though I do not know the way.
And even the fact that some people, you might just be in the lecture. I remembered when
they will come in and disrupt the whole thing.
When I was in school then, and the next thing like like, okay, everywhere I go.
Sincerely.
Like, for months, like the school organized the school system would just be like, okay, fine, you guys don't come to school for like 2 weeks. And then we'll come back, they just like rushing us just because of some people.
Sincerely, I feel like it disrupts the academic calendar as a whole. And then for students too, there's this fear you create in them because they don't even know if they're safe going to school.
I don't even know who to talk to. Like,
exactly.
I can't react if you step on me. I can't react if you slap me because I don't know who you are.
And I feel like in school, we are supposed to operate under equal rights because we pay the same school fee.
You can't try it.
Sincerely, but then so I feel like they disrupt the academic calendar, and aside that, there's this fear they create. And then they just make students to live in fear, and then they can't even, you know, communicate and be free and all of that. We talked about how this affects school calendar. We talked about how it creates fear, and then, you know, the violence that occurs in the school. So I'd like to know, how do you think the school can identify and address cultism in school?
In Nigeria specifically, I don't think there is a way they haven't, like, there's like some things they haven't done, because in school, I remember then they'll be like, okay, fine, there's this body that if you sense anybody is into cultism, you can come and tell us. But then it's still not effective. Like, I don't think there is like any way, because if you ask anybody, like, okay, fine, set up a small group where you want anybody, like, make a law that anybody caught will be sent to jail, will be expelled. But we see people that in most Nigerian universities, even lecturers know about these people. They know about them, and still they're not talking, they're not doing anything. They're like, just leave them. And it's not like they're trying.
What if they're not talking because of the fear of?
That's what I'm about to get there. Like, some people are not talking. It's not because of fear. Some people are actually their leaders. Some people are getting money from them. We have cultism, like people that actually like emerge from cultism, and they're doing fine. They're doing good. They're lecturers. They're like big people. What if they have their godsons and all of that in that system? So you can't tell like a already sports system to create like a policy or to create a law that's going to regulate it. Eventually they will create it, but will it be effective? It will not be effective. But now, to answer your question, like, let me just say, they have to create an organization, like a small group. If you have anybody that's into cultism, come and tell us. Like, just like have it for having sake. Okay, fine. In our own school, we have like a body that regulates cultism. We have a particular law that if people are caught, they'll go to jail or they'll be expelled.
But really, are there really committees like that in school?
No, actually, there are some committees like that in universities. They are in universities, but they are not effective. They are not doing the right thing they're meant to do, because if they are doing it, we won't be having issues of cultism everywhere and all of that everywhere. It will still not be like everywhere nowadays that we're seeing it. Which are actually being like, are there current laws like sufficient? Like, are there current laws like to stop cultism?
I would say most laws focus on the punishment, not the root of the problem. And then I think let's do a shout out to some state governors that are trying to do, try to curb this thing. Someone like Monday Okpebholo, there's been, he came out to say that any cultism act, anyone caught in that act would be arrested and jailed for 21 years. And I'll still say that is also still focusing on the punishment, not the root cause. But then I feel like that can also be a reason for people to stop, because if you, and come to think of it, if someone who has killed someone who has sold their soul to this thing, and then you're telling the person that they will spend 21 years in jail, do you really think that would move them?
It won't move them at all, because
I feel like they've done worse. So they will just like, it's part of it. We'll move past it.
It's a package deal.
Sincerely. So I feel like there are no certain laws that are focused on it. And I feel like that is where the whole problem is coming from. There are no certain, there are no certain law focusing on this. And then, like you said, there are some schools whereby even the professors, the lecturers are involved in the act. So there's really nothing. It's just the punishment that we hear
because we're all focused on this punishment, because we feel that if we actually talk about you going to jail for 21 years, like thinking, oh, how do I want to spend my life in the prison?
And I feel like that there are certain things that we have the law because of the investigation that has been carried out and the effect of these things. But looking at cultism, there's been poor investigation when it comes to it, because they feel like it is the school that has the rights. It is in the school jurisdiction. Like the government
isn't doing anything about it.
I don't think the government sees it as something that affects the country as a whole. They see it as something that affects schools. So schools should focus on it.
Schools then team up to like
to the society. Okay, so let's talk about the mental health of the people, of the students now. How do you think this affects the mental health of the students?
Okay, so I would say for some people that are forced to join this cultism of a thing, because some people are actually forced, okay, if you don't join this or do this thing to you and all of that, it will affect them. Some people have post-traumatic stress disorder. Some people will actually like withdraw from the society, and some people like, they're not, most of them don't talk to their parents anymore. Some don't talk to their friends, because mostly the roles of the cultism, like all of that,
it's a secret cult.
It's a secret cult. You don't tell people about it. So that guilt to communicate and all of that will like be there. And some people actually like their education, their academic performance will be like poor. It actually affects many people, which really brings me to this thing that, okay, what can this society and the parents of these people do to like stop this cultism?
Okay, I feel like one thing that we feel like is so sophisticated and is not in the reach of everybody is therapy, and I feel like it would work very well
in Nigeria.
In Nigeria. I feel like Nigerian government should at this point make therapy more of a free thing and something that even the poor can have access to. But because the truth of the matter is,
we're all going through a lot
in Nigeria.
Apart from cultism.
Sincerely, and going to your question, like how can community leaders and parents work together? I feel like vigilant parenting. You know how they say that charity begins at home, and the first unit that every child knows is the family. So I feel like the first and foremost thing is vigilant parenting. Now, parents should get involved in their children's life.
Once you notice
like, you know, I appreciate parents that when their kids come back from school, they are always asking them, did anybody bully you in school? And you know, when you ask them that kind of question and you make sure that they realize that you're more of their friends and a parent, as much as you want to be that disciplined father and mother.
But it takes a
also,
lot.
I know it takes a lot, but at least try and be friends with your kids. You know, have this kind of relationship that it's easy for them to open up to you and tell you that this is what I'm going through.
In that situation of this cultism part, is it easy for you to like just open up to your parents when they've actually like threatening you in school that if you tell your parents?
I feel like most times they even, you know, threaten them with their parents.
So they don't want them to like.
But I feel like in a situation whereby your parents are like, you have this close relationship that whatever happens in your life, the first person you want to talk to is your parent, even though you're scared. And this is why I said vigilant parenting is not all about the child opening up. It's also about the parents also noticing that there's something that has changed about it, because there is no way a child is going to prayer in school that it will not tell on them. It will affect everything they do. And another thing is, I feel like communities too should organize campaigns teaching the children about these things. I think
there are campaigns that are like, because we have churches, we have these NGOs that like organize these things.
But then come to think of it, in this year, how many of these have you seen on cultism?
No, to be fair, I haven't seen any.
Exactly my point.
Okay, come and invest.
Exactly. So I feel like we need to create more campaign and awareness. Exactly. There are some certain issues that I feel like is eating deep in Nigeria that we don't talk about, because we're all focused on I beg na the money matter, I need the money and all that.
Today, dollar is
exactly. So we're focusing on that. And we're neglecting the things that if we don't take note of now, with time, it would disrupt the structure and the system of the country. Okay, so I'd like to know your own opinion. What support system are available in order to stop, in order to help students that are trying to leave cultism?
Okay, one thing is, when you're into cultism, it is actually hard for you to leave. And that's why, actually, when you want to leave, I feel that there's some organizations that even ex-cultists, that like they create an organization, like a small setup. Okay, fine. If you actually want to come out, we can help you come out. We have these NGOs that actually like set up, like we can help you if you want to like leave this place. And we have some religious activities like religious like that. Okay, we can help you move. Even though it's not easy to leave, is it that death or like by miracle that it happens and all of that. But then we've seen some people leave cultism and all of that, and they're becoming a better person. Some of them actually set up like an organization that will let me help people that don't want to, like that want to leave, but they don't have the resources, or they didn't have the way, or they don't have the knowledge to leave the group.
All right. Thank you very much for the whole discussion. Actually, it's actually a nice one. And if there's one takeaway from today's story, it says that cultism didn't start with violence. It started
people actually have this major idea that, okay, fine, once you hear about cultism, that thing,
exactly,
all of that.
Yeah, but I think we this has brought us to, it has enlightened us to see that it didn't, the main purpose of cultism, or let's just say confraternity, was not because of the violence. It was not because of the fight. It was just some certain group of people that were trying to curb the oppression they get from the colonials then. And it started from a dream of justice. But then this tragedy now is how far, it shows how far it has strayed, to the extent that secondary students
like that
are now involved into it in order to,
what led you to that thing? Why did you like come up with it? Who is your ringleader? I want to see that person.
Okay, so and this is why we are begging, we're talking to educators, we're pleading to parents, we're pleading to communities. In order to stop this, it will start from each and every one of us. For parents, please be observant. Look at how your children are behaving now. Listen to them. Ask them questions. Know about what's going on in their life.
The economy.
Exactly. Stop focusing on the economy and always trying to, all I'm doing is just to, take care of you, feed you and all that. After feeding these kids and they're involved in things in school that are not good, they might be the first person to even kill you at the long run, and we don't want that, really. So I feel like parents, communities, and for communities that neglect children, also know that these children will become nuisance in that same communities, and you might think you might not be affected, but what if your house is the first one that gets the heat? And also for the government, who feels like it is the school's right or it is in their jurisdiction to do all of this, always remember that the students will leave school. School is more like another word, and then they will come into the real world after the whole thing. And then when they come into the real world, it's going to affect each and every one of us. So this is a call to the government, to the parents, and the communities. Let's come together and stop this act of cultism that is going on in the society, that has become rampant in our society. And that will be all on today's episode of Veegilant Podcast, where we talk about civic matters and we'll talk about things from other people's perspective. I'm still your host, Olaiton Babatunde, and here with me has been Olaiton Adebayo. Until the next, do have a great weekend.